The Golden State Warriors waived Chris Paul last night, and shortly after, and I did not expect it to happen this fast, our Spurs signed Chris Paul to a one-year deal worth $11 million. What I didn't expect is it looks like he may start next season. Go, Spurs, go, 'cause the Giants stay. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you're having a great day. Found this article from Spurs Talk this morning that's going to talk about, it looks like Chris Paul is not just going to be a mentor, which we expected if he came to the Spurs, but also a starter. Let's get into the article. According to a team source he spoke with, Chris Paul was the first free agent the Spurs called. Greg Popovich talked to him and sold the 39-year-old on his vision. The Spurs view CP3 as a team's starting point guard and as a mentor for Victor Wembanyama, Stefan Castle, and the rest of the young players in San Antonio. The hope for all parties involved is that Paul can reestablish himself as a high-quality starter after he spent this season with the Warriors that saw him primarily in a bench role. He's going to be 40 this season, is he not? I hope he still got some gas in the gas tank, especially to be a starter. It's actually a bit surprising that point guard agreed so quickly. I agree with that statement 100%. I thought he'd be a free agent for a little while. The common assumption throughout the league was that Paul was going to opt to sign with the contender. In the video he did last night for the channel, I was like, is it enticing enough for Chris Paul to be able to play with Wemby, mentor players, and be coached by Pop? Apparently, it was. To his credit, he could have tried to go. Of course, depends on if the other teams would want him, but could have held out to go to the Celtics, the Nuggets, any one of these contenders, and accepted really reduced role and contract and said, hey, backup point guard, I'll play for you for $3 million, whatever it is, and he's coming here. So let's give him a little credit. He sees something. He sees something greater. He sees Victor Wembanyama. Anyway, his mentorship alone will be invaluable. Paul has a great track record of helping young players find their footing in the league and helping young teams maximize their talents. He's a master in the pick and roll, and his decision-making on offense has always been excellent. Shooting-wise, he'll be a big improvement over Trey Jones. Sorry, Trey. Paul is a more accurate three-point shooter and lets them fly more often. Okay, everything sounds good so far, right? Defensively, Paul at 39 isn't as quick as he once was, but he still can hang on the end of the court. He's strong, he's smart, and he isn't one who allows himself to get bullied. Unless his athleticism falls off a cliff, no pun intended, Paul will be an upgrade on the defensive end too. Okay, CP3 is a type of leader who will call out younger players for bad decisions. That's actually a good thing. Adding him to your team is a fast way to improve a team's collective basketball IQ. Anyone who watched the Spurs play last year knows that smarter play would be very much appreciated. Yeah. There's also a chance that the Spurs could profit by dealing Paul at the trade deadline to a contender. And this is something that he doesn't really be talking about too much as of yet. He plays well as a starter. And then we trade him for another asset, maybe a second-round pick in 2034. Bad joke, too soon. If he looks like a bona fide starter, a desperate contender could give San Antonio an offer they can't refuse. Could he pull a first-round pick for Chris Paul? I don't know about that, but it does open the door. It does some mentorship for the Spurs up until right before the All-Star break, and maybe he is traded. Then the Spurs didn't spend a ton of money for a guy that can mentor Stefan Castle, still mentor all our guards, and certainly the rest of the young guys on the team. I mean, I think he's actually old enough to be the dad of more than half our roster, right? Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. The team now has an on-court leader, which will make life easier for the 20-year-old, talking about Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, having one of the best passers in league history will also benefit Wemby. I think it's safe to say Wemby probably going to average over 25 points per game this year. And like this news for Castle. Stefan Castle said he wants to play point guard. Now he's got a mentor right there. Not only in the Spurs organization and Pop, etc., but a multi-time all-star, great defensive player. Yes, I know he's not the player he once was. Some of you are not a fan of some things that happen on other teams with him, but we're hoping, best case scenario here, he's a great mentor for Stefan Castle. With Paul on board, Castle can learn firsthand how to run point in the NBA. Additionally, Paul isn't a ball-dominant guard these days, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for Castle to run the show, similar to Derek White. Starting five is what he's going with, Spurs talk. Paul, Castle, Vassell, Sohan, and Wembanyama. This is a lineup I have seen posted many times on the Spurs Facebook page. Looks like this. That's somewhat small starting five, but it has potential on both ends of the court. Let's circle back to this. I want to talk about this a little more in depth here for a moment. That is going to be a small lineup. real small compared to some other NBA teams. Rebounding could be an issue, and we could still have an issue with floor spacing. At the moment, Stephon Castle and Jeremy Sohan are not good three-point shooters. However, it could be Lob City with CP3 lobbing the ball to Wemby. Let's not also forget Castle lobbing balls to Don McClingan in college. So he might be a great lobber to Wemby. And then, Vassell started getting a good rapport with Wemby at the end of the season. Yeah, this could open up a lot of opportunities for Wemby if teams aren't double teaming him and triple teaming like they did last season. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We talked a little bit about Wemby and Castle running the inverted pick and roll where they get on Wemby and Castle's open. So this is going to be an interesting thing how things play out with this offense. If they go with the starting lineup, the size does concern me. Size does matter, here at least. And I don't know. Very curious how it plays out. At the very least, if this is a starting lineup, this should strengthen our bench unit with Trey Jones and Keldon Johnson leading the way. Zach Collins is still there. A lot of you want to see him gone. I don't think anybody's taking on that contract. I think Julian Champagnie will do better in a bench role. I don't think Cedi Osman's coming back. We'll see. But I think our bench could be a little stronger next season. That's certainly not a bad thing. Our bench came in and gave up a ton of leads. I don't want to talk about the bench anymore in regards to the last season. There you go. Trey Jones played well last season, but I like him better off the bench. All right, good. We agree there. The Spurs should do all they can to bring Juan Nunez over from Spain next season. Nunez looting from Paul would be too great of an opportunity to miss. So this is also something I want to jump into, is our point guard situation. Kind of have a lot right now. We've reverted back to the San Antonio guards. If you take a look at our roster, Chris Paul, and this is in no particular order, Stephon Castle, Trey Jones, Blake Wesley, Devontae Graham, and Juan Nunez, who I don't think he's under contract as of yet, but I assume he's going to have some sort of... Does he have to sign a contract if he's a drafting staff? He's with the Spurs right now. Devontae Graham won't be here next season. I can't see any way, shape, or form he's still on the roster. So that's one taken care of. That sounds mean, but you know what I mean. Nunez appears to be overseas, so okay, there's that. But what are the long-term plans for Trey Jones and Blake Wesley? Are they looking at Trey Jones as the primary backup? The backup? This is the last year of his contract. He might test the waters. Does that mean Blake Wesley? And what's that mean for minutes for Blake Wesley? Are we going to see 2 point guards on the floor at the same time? Or is Wesley going to be more of a combo guard, more of that Derek White role where he's occasionally handling the ball? Time will tell. And then Chris Paul, I don't think he's going to be here next season. I think this is just a stopgap type of situation where he's going to be mentored. Maybe he plays for the Spurs all year. Maybe not. Maybe he does get traded. Who knows? We'll see. I hope it works out for Chris Paul and the Spurs. But next season, I think Paul's off of that thumbnail and maybe gets replaced by a forward. I don't know. Cooper Flag, maybe. Hopefully. No. We'll see. And then the last thing I want to bring up, maybe I already said the last thing, but there's a second last thing. One of you mentioned it, and it didn't hit me right away, but Chris Paul. CP3, right? Will Keldon Johnson give up his jersey number for CP3, or will CP3 say, hey, you've been wearing this your whole career with the Spurs. I'll happily change my number to, I don't know if he had a different number in college or high school or whatever it may be, but I'm kind of curious how that plays out as well. Keldon seems like a cool dude who would give up his number, but then if that happens, then my Johnson is useless. I won't be able to wear, I suppose I could still wear it, but it'll be the wrong number. I'll just have to shove my Johnson in the closet and... Okay, that's enough of that. Spurs fans, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts if this is the starting lineup. Are you on board? Are you like, I don't think so, TSR. He should be coming off the bench. I thought it'd be more of a bench role. What's this do for us winning games this year? Do we win more games? We're gonna win more in 22. We're gonna win more in 22, but very curious how much this affects us moving forward. And this is a move. I know he's old. I know he's past his prime. He is a big name, and he's coming to the Spurs, where a lot of folks thought he was going to go try to latch on to a contending team. So this is a start of something. I'm starting to see some Larry Markkinen, more of those rumors out there, which also would raise a big question if he is somehow, if there's a big trade made between the Spurs and the Jazz for Markkinen, who's coming out of the starting lineup? Is Castle going to the bench as a rookie? We'll see. It's a fun time to be a Spurs fan. I know some of you love this news, some of you don't. In the end, though, one thing we can all agree on is go Spurs go. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great day. And once again, go Spurs go.
Ready to get the game on. and then you press it to Wembley.